Hi! Today's review video is going to be on 8.1, right triangle trigonometry. So we have 4 different skills to master. One is being able to draw angles in a standard position. Our second one being able to convert angle measures between degrees and radians. Our third one is defining the 6 trigonometric ratios. And then our fourth one is using the right triangle trigonometry to evaluate trig functions. So let's get started. So first we're going to be just learning about an angle. An angle is the union of two rays with a common endpoint. So these would be our two rays and our endpoint. This is what we would call a vertex. And this on the inside between them is what we would call our angle, or theta. Theta is another way to represent our angle. So there are 2 different ways that we measure the size of a circle. A circle is 360 degrees, a whole circle. If we slice the circle 360 times and then each degree would just be 1, so our full circle is 360 degrees. And then half of a circle would be half of 360, which is 180 degrees. Now, if we slice our circle into roughly 6.2 slices, that would be 1 radian. And then half a circle is pi radians. So degrees and radians are the main ways that we measure a circle. So here is how we convert between radians and degrees. We start with the same formula. So we have radians over pi equals degrees over 180. And that's the formula we will be using to convert between them. So if we look over here, if we are given degrees and we want to convert it to radians, we substitute the degree measure in for whatever degree we have. And if we are given radians, then we would substitute the radian value in for the radian up here in our formula. So let's look at some examples. Our first one is to convert negative pi over 4 into degrees. Into degrees. So I'm following my formula up here, which I'll actually write here so we can see. So it's pi radian, or theta radian over pi equals theta degree over 180 degrees. So my given value is negative pi over 4, so I'm going to write that down. Negative pi over 4 over pi equals theta over 180. And now what I'm going to be doing is kind of like a cross multiply situation. So I'm going to be cross multiplying these together. So I have theta, I'll do it up here, theta pi, and then equals that multiplied together, so equals 180 times negative pi over 4. Okay, and then from here I would solve for theta, which would give me my answer in degrees. So 180 times pi divided by 4 would give me a negative 45. 180 divided by 4, negative 45 pi, then equals theta pi. And now I want to get rid of the pi so I can have just my degree alone, because I'm trying to just find degrees. So I can divide both sides by pi, which would then give me my answer of negative 45 degrees. All right, our second example is to convert 60 degrees into radians. So again, following my formula up here, I have theta over pi equals 60 degrees over 180. And I'm going to simplify this into just 1 over 3. I don't know, just kind of easier for me to work with. So I have theta over pi equals 1 over 3. And then it equals 1/3 over pi. And then our last example is converting negative 315 degrees into radians, which is similar to our first one where we had a negative radian. Here we have a negative degree. So same formula. Theta over pi equals negative 315 degrees over 180. And then again, I'm going to simplify this into 7 over 4, negative. So theta over pi equals negative 7 over 4, which would just be negative 7 over 4 pi. So here is our unit circle where we can find a lot of the radians with the degrees. And the 4 I have highlighted are some of the main ones that would be important to know and remember. Okay, moving on to our main trig functions. These are the 6 trig functions. The main 3 are sine, cosine, and tangent, where sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. A very common way to remember this, an easy way to remember this, is with the acronym SO, CA, TOA. And the first letter represents our trig functions, so sine, cosine, and tangent. So in the SO, the O and H means opposite over adjacent. The A and the H and the C is adjacent over hypotenuse, and then the OA and then in the T is opposite over adjacent. And now for our other 3 functions, our reciprocal trig functions is flipping our main functions. So when I flip it, I have hypotenuse over opposite side, which is cosecant. And that's what that is. And then if we flip our cosine, we get hypotenuse over adjacent, which would give me secant. And then if we flip our tangent, which is adjacent over opposite, that would give me cotangent. So sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent are my 6 trig functions. Okay, let's look at this example. So for the given right triangle, label the adjacent side, opposite side, and hypotenuse for the indicated angle. So my angle is down here. I can tell because it's where the 2 rays meet, and this little curve, which represents the angle. So opposite from the angle means on the opposite side is over here where I have 6. So that is my opposite. Adjacent to the angle means on the same side as the angle, which is 14. Oopsies. And then the hypotenuse is always the longest side, in this case, which is 20. So now let's find our 6 trig functions. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse, which is 6 over 20. And if we flip it to get cosecant, it's 20 over 6. For cosine, it's hypotenuse over, or adjacent over hypotenuse, which would be 14 over 20. And then if I flip that to get secant, I would have 20 over 14. And then my tangent is opposite over adjacent, which is 6 over 14. And then if I flip it to get my cotangent, it would be 14 over 6. So those are our 6 trig functions, and how we convert from degrees to radians and radians to degrees.